Well, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Patty. I go by Pattymac Makes everywhere online. I'd like to welcome you to the channel, whether you are a new viewer or a returning viewer. Whichever you are, thanks for being here, and I hope that you'll enjoy today's video. Okay, as I film this video, it is the very end of September, and we're rolling into fall and winter, and I'll be honest, it's not my favorite time of year. I wouldn't mind the cooler temperatures, but what I really struggle with is the short days, and it's so dark. I really have trouble with that. And it's not just from a mood standpoint, which is a big thing. It's also the fact that it makes it really hard for me to get in enough of my sewing and quilting time. If you don't have extra light, it can be really, really tough. I'll just go out and say it's almost impossible to try and do any sort of sewing or crafting in the evening without the extra light source. But all lights are not created equal, and today I want to talk with you about one particular light that is a well-known brand, and it is designed specifically for sewing and crafts. And then I want to talk to you about another light that's kind of my own sort of hack, and it works beautifully, and you can sort of see it over my shoulder here, but not really. So stick around if you want to see what this kind of kooky thing is that I'm doing to get the best light possible when I'm sewing. I wound up moving my working space out here into my living room, which is not only a much larger room, it's a much better lit room. I have skylights up here, and I get light from both this side of the house as well as over here, and that really improved my ability to sew correctly and more accurately than when I was still tucked away in the back bedroom. So it might be surprising to you that even in this room, where the light quality is significantly better, and even on a day like today, which is totally clear and very sunny, that I would still use additional light. But I do, because even in a well-lit room like this one, you can still benefit from having some additional lighting to help you with your sewing. The lights that I'm going to show you, they can be used for all sorts of crafts. They can be used for machine sewing, they can be used for embroidery or any other sort of handwork that you want to do, and you can also use them for knitting and crochet. I first discovered the task lights when I was knitting, and I, like to knit at night and watch TV. I think that's a pretty common way that most of us will do our knitting. And I didn't realize how much I was struggling to see what I was doing until I brought home the task light and turned it on for the first time, and I was like, holy moly, what a difference. So what are the benefits of using a special task light while you're sewing or doing your other crafts? Well, first of all, you can see what you're doing a whole lot better. And being able to really see what you're doing, you're going to find that it will reduce the amount of mistakes that you're going to make. And I will tell you something else it will do. It will reduce your eye strain. When you don't have good lighting and you're trying to work, your eyes really do stress and strain. And, I'm a little bit of an older person, and so I already have difficulty with my eyes. I have like 3 pairs of glasses, and I'm not just talking about the readers that you get at the drugstore. I have 3 different kinds of progressive lenses for all sorts of situations, and I use them all. And so if I can take some of the stress and strain off of my vision by using better lighting, I'm going to do it. So when you're shopping for lights, what should you look for? You'll want to look for something that is a natural white or a daylight balanced light. So just using your table lamp, like if you just went to another room and got a table lamp with a regular incandescent bulb, that's not the best because it's going to have a color cast, and even if you're not doing projects that require color accuracy, it's still going to be a little bit harder on your eyes. Finding a light with a flexible neck so that you can position the angle of the light wherever it is that you need it, that is a huge, huge thing that you want to look for. You want to be able to put the light exactly where you need it. Another thing that I've noticed as I've gotten a little older is that things that I used to move around really easily, they're really heavy for me now. So I want to have things that are lightweight and easy for me to handle. I don't need to be adding any extra strain to my joints, moving heavier stuff around. And I'll also tell you, with the newer lights, and what I have to share with you are both fairly new lights, the energy efficiency is so much better. You're oftentimes dealing with a switch to an LED type of light source, and the lights that use the LEDs are so much lower in wattage. And this is really important for a couple of reasons. One, it's using less electricity, so it's going to help with your bill. And two, you're not going to waste the electric. The old-fashioned incandescent bulbs are really, really consumptive. So just by changing out your bulbs, you can find a bit of a difference in your energy bill. But we're not talking about that today. Today we're just talking about the sewing lights. So I can tell you that the newer lights have much less draw and therefore consume much less electric. And this is also good if you're dealing in a power outage and you're using like one of the small power generators like I use. You're going to get more time on your sewing because the equipment you're using is pulling less power. So that's always a good thing. The industry standard is the Ottlite. Ottlite has been around for years and years and years, and just about everybody who has ever done any kind of crafting at some point has either seen or used or heard of an Ottlite. I had to start, I bought it as a package set, and it was like this incredible deal at Joann. They were moving the store, and then they were having this huge sale, and I had coupons. And I wound up getting a floor lamp and the table lamp, and I used those for a long time. I used them for years. And the thing of it was, they were huge. I mean, they were huge and clunky, and I'll be honest, they were kind of ugly. And because my space is so open and it's like the main living area, I want my things to look nice as well as perform in the way that I need them to perform. So last year, I went to a Black Friday sale at Joann, and I got my sewing machine, which you can kind of see here. That's my Singer Heavy Duty. And they also had the particular Ottlite that I'm going to show you on sale. And I got it for such a good price. And I thought, well, I can't not get this. It was priced so well. So I grabbed it, I brought it home, and I love the darn thing. The one I have is called the Creative Curves LED, and it's a desk lamp as well as has a USB charger. So you can be charging your tablet or whatever it is you're using while you're running the light fixture. So I mentioned earlier that the first Ottlite that I had was huge. It was really big. And it performed well, but it was huge. And, you know, I have this one sewing table. You can't really see it. It's called a Norden table, and I got it from IKEA. And it's not like this gigantic, massive workspace. It's a good workspace. I mean, I do everything on it. But I still have limited space. And so I didn't want this huge footprint of the other light. And now with the new one, I just love this thing. It's so compact, and honestly, it angles better than the other one to get down to where I need it. It's perfect because I can angle that light head right onto the sewing table of my sewing machine, and I can see everything I'm doing. And it doesn't matter if it's cloudy, if it's late, or whatever. And I turn it on even in the daytime. Last year when I was sewing in the evenings, even though the new light was great, I found that it just wasn't quite enough. And then there was just some sort of, I don't know, happy accident, or I just got an idea. And I took my grow light that I use for my houseplants and decided to use that along with my sewing, and I have never looked back. What I like about using my grow light as an additional task light is that it's all on these like flexible arms, and I can angle the arms wherever I need them to be, so I can more fully light my whole table while I'm working and just see everything. And the light that comes from the grow light, it's a really good daylight balanced light, because that's what your plants are going to want. I also really like this grow light because it doesn't get hot. So while a little bit of warmth might be nice in the wintertime, I don't want any extra heat in here in the summer. And honestly, if I'm really into the quilting, the iron is going to be on, and that alone makes the room incredibly warm. So I don't need anything else putting heat on me. Again, older gal, I don't need some hot light blaring down on me when I'm sewing. I get enough heat just from the iron. So I will use both of these lights together all the time. So like, again, it's a really beautiful clear day here, and even though I have good daylight outside, I'm still going to turn those lights on to give me all of the light that I can get. I will also move that grow light over to my cutting table, which as I'm standing here, you can't see it, but that table is right behind where the camera is. I can again angle all of the arms right over top of the cutting table, and so if I'm trying to piece something at night or do some cutting, I can see what I'm doing. I like to cut in the evening, and that can be really hard to do because, as you know, the cutting part of this is a precision skill, and if you don't have enough light, you're going to mess that up. So with that grow light, I can just angle it over top of my table and see everything I'm doing. Okay, let's turn the camera, and I'm going to show you what I'm using, and you can see them on the table, and I'll just talk to you about how I use everything. Here's my little area of the sewing table where I have the patchwork set up, and you can see that I've got both of my lights, and they are set in the position where I generally use them. So on the back side of the machine, you can see the little Ottlite, and then over to the right hand side there's like a little black stand, and on top of that you can see the arms of the light fixture that is the grow light. And of course, this is designed so that you can have better coverage of light on your house plants, and which is why I originally got it. But oh my gosh, it's a great task light. And it also has an adjustable height on that little stand, and you can move the light right in where you need it, as high or as low as you want to go. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off the lights, and we'll just kind of see what the space looks like with the lights off. And then we'll turn them on, and you can see the difference that it makes. This is not going to be like award-winning photography because, you can see the throat of the sewing machine is a little bit blown out, and that's just because your eye can see things a lot better than a camera lens. But anyway, I just want you to get a sense of how much light those two little lightweight fixtures are actually adding to my sewing space. Okay, see what I mean? That's a big difference. Now, if you look carefully, you'll see the light from the sewing machine is on. Like, I've been sewing this morning, and so the sewing machine is turned on. And look at how small and weak that light is. I mean, that's no shade on Singer. For what it is, it's perfectly fine. But I mean, look at that. It looks like you're sewing in a closet, doesn't it? Now, in real life, if you were here, you would see it's a little bit brighter than it appears in this picture. But I wanted you to have a sense of what the lights actually do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back into the scene, and I'm going to turn on just that little Ottlite so that you can see that and what it does. And what I'll do is I'll move it around a little bit so that you can kind of see how that works and how you can angle it all sorts of different ways. Also, before I go do that, I want you to know that this little light has like 4 levels of brightness. So I'll just click through and you can see all the levels. I usually put it all the way up. You know, if I'm going to turn the light on, I want it on all the way. So, okay, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you can see that light is so flexible and it's really easy to move around, and it doesn't occupy a ton of space on the sewing table itself. So even if maybe I was sewing something really long, let's say that I was sewing like something that used jelly roll straps, and you know, I'm running that whole width of fabric through and it can get kind of wide over time. You know, I can very easily put that light where it needs to be so that it's not going to impede the flow of the fabric as it runs under the needle. But just look at the difference that it made, just that little bit of light. And again, I can angle it where I want, but it's only on one side. So I'm going to go ahead now and turn on the grow light so that you can see what that does. Okay, isn't that amazing? And the lights are so flexible. And I'll give you a tip. If you are stationed close to a wall, especially if you have lighter colored walls, and white is the best, obviously, but if you have that lighter color wall, you can actually angle the light fixtures to like point them at the wall, or like in my case, it's a combination of the wall and that white bookshelf. What that will do is then bounce light back to you, and it will just give you like this really broadly lit soft light. And so it just adds more light to the overall work table. And why don't I run something through the machine with the light set up so that you can just kind of see what that looks like and just get a sense of how it is to have that light where it is, and just be able to see what's going on. So let me grab a couple of jelly roll strips and I'll just run that through and you can see how that looks. Okay, so I just ran that whole length of the strip so that you could see that I still have plenty of room for manipulating the fabric swatch. It's no problem. And if I want to quickly adjust the lights, I can do that so easily. So yeah, it's fantastic. And I really like that I can plug in my phone. So if I want to listen to a podcast or run a video or whatever it is that I feel like doing, I can have my phone right there and I'm not going to run out of charge, because we all know how irritating that is. The phone is always running out of charge right when we want it most. So anyway, that's the best way that I know to show you kind of how this looks. Yeah, it's much easier to demo and show you this in real life, but I can't have all of you over at one time, so we're just going to go with it this way for this video. And I hope that will help you out. Okay, my friends, my quilt rebels out there, I hope that gives you some ideas for ways that you can improve the quality of light in your sewing room this winter. I really swear by this combination of lights. It has helped me so much, and I just know it will help you too. I did include links for both of the lights that I'm using in the description below. They will take you over to Amazon, and you can browse Amazon and see what you like over there. That is an affiliate link, so if you buy something, I'll get a small commission. But it doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, that's it for today's video. As always, I really appreciate you being here. I wouldn't have this channel without you, and that you come back and you watch and you subscribe and do all of the YouTube-y things. It means a lot to me. So thank you very much. And until next time, happy quilting!